Hi everyone, my name is Naja McEwen. Today I'll be talking about KMN in reference to the HR simulation assignment in our HR management class at Burnell University. Okay, so for overall performance, our team ranked highly each week in various sectors such as quality and minority employees. Additionally, we thought critically through our decisions and how we spent our budget each week. One of the things that allowed us to rank highly each week is that we allowed room for trial and error. Meaning, when we made certain decisions each week, we would see kind of how that played out in various sectors, such as quality and minority employees. And each week, we would kind of play on that into the next week. So, for instance, one of our weeks, our quality rating was very low, but the next week we decided to spend more money on quality training as well as some different quality activities that we could do with employees to see how that would affect our quality index. Additionally, for our overall performance, each quarter we continue to improve team results and surpass industry averages. So each week we were ranked either number one or number two based on the decisions that we made in the prior week. And I think that one of the things that allowed us to be so successful within the game is, like I said, we allowed a lot of room for trial and error. So we kind of talked through things as a team and figured out which sectors of the business needed more help. We also took the tips from the industry tips and used those. And then also we kind of played on some of our own real world experiences. So we kind of looked at, from a real world perspective, how things would play out if we increase or decrease certain things. Again, to piggyback on that, we've made decisions based on HR laws, regulations, and standards. So many of us in our team have HR experience, and we utilize that when we were making decisions to kind of make sure that we were within the realms of employment laws, regulations, and even labor laws and regulations. As I previously stated, we considered previous quarter results, and we also considered what some of our competitors were doing. We spoke with some of our classmates to figure out what they were doing in certain special decisions in certain instances in which they observed that certain sectors were doing better than others. So we also utilized each of our quarters results, and we also utilized our competitors, which were our teammates in this case. For our demographic analysis, I compared the industry average to each of our averages at each level. So you'll see the industry female average was 15.3. For level 1, we had 10.3. Level 2, we had 11.3. Level 3, we had 12.3. Level 4, we had 13.3. And level 5, we had 14.3. So you'll see that our female goals kind of increased with each level, which makes sense because at a higher level, so at level 5, we have less employees, which makes our goal a little bit easier to obtain. But at level 1, you'll see it's our lowest, which is where we have the most employees at, so it's a little bit harder to get to that female goal. I believe that our goal as a firm was a 20%. So we didn't quite hit our target, but we did our best. And you'll see that the industry average again is 15.3. So we were kind of aiming high, but in some of the sectors like level 5 and level 4, we were a lot closer to the industry average. So, for our minority percentages, we were actually very off target. We should have done more diversity and inclusion activities and even made it more a priority to do diversity hiring. So you'll see that the industry average was an 11.7, and we did not touch that in any way. So in level 1, we had a 6.7. Level 2, we had 1.7. Level 3, we had 4.7, level 4, we had 2.3, and level 5, we have 2.3. So you'll see that our kind of minority goals they're the opposite of what our female goals were, where that they get lower as the levels get higher. But like I said, as a firm, our goal was 20%, which obviously was a very high reach. But yeah, we could have definitely emphasized more on diversity and inclusion, and definitely more diversity hiring efforts could have been made as well. So for our simulation incidents, we had an array of incidents. So our first incident was the job design, which is where we kind of helped figure out what the job design would look like and how to mold that for employees. Our second was selection. So we got to actually select a candidate that will be put in a management role and kind of see what that looks like from all sectors of the business. Our third incident was a performance evaluation. So our performance evaluation, we got to figure out how exactly we want to evaluate employees based on their performance. So do we want to do a performance a performance pay-based system, or use another system to evaluate performance? For HR policy, we kind of got to play into how some of our policies are made and how they would be carried out. For compensation and benefits, I think that I kind of got the performance evaluations a little bit confused, but we did figure out a compensation system in which employees would be compensated based on performance. And for performance evaluations, we figured out who exactly would be performing performance evaluations and what that looks like for employees. For training and development, we kind of got to figure out how to develop more programs to tailor towards our employees, and also what type of training managers and supervisors and leadership would obtain. For simulation results, so in each incident, we got to see how our special decision played into the rest of our sectors, which I thought was really cool because it kind of plays on modern day. Like, you see how certain programs or certain decisions that you make can play into every single employee, and they can play into every single market. So I really thought that after each special decision we made, our team kind of went back and observed certain sectors. Like, if we made a decision on training and development, we want to see what that does to our quality index. Or if we made a decision on grievances, we want to see what that does for our turnover. So things like that. So for some of the most significant simulation results that we've seen were our job design, which helped us decrease turnover. Our performance appraisals helped us increase employee performance and productivity. Our compensation decisions, helped us decrease turnover and also increase organizational commitment as well. So again, we kind of saw a decrease in turnover based on some compensation decisions we've had, which led us to believe that, employees are staying because they're being compensated well. Our training and development, we definitely saw an increase in employee engagement and a decrease in grievances, which showed us that many of our employee engagement tactics were actually paying off. Okay, so an overview of everything that we learned. I really enjoyed this game. I thought that, like I said, it had a great tie into how real world decisions and real strategic planning can play into every single employee and also different sectors of the business. So from an HR perspective, sometimes we make decisions based on our own lateral needs, but many times we can see that, it can affect productivity. It can affect turnover. It can affect many things by just simple decisions that we're making. And it's not only HR. It's also the other sectors of the business, the operational side, the sales side, any side. Decisions can really affect the entire company. The correlation that I resonated the most to HR management within this simulation was, one, strategic planning. Learning how to really plan for the future and really be proactive in everything that you do and all the decisions that you make is very important. Organizational design. So being able to look at compensation pay systems and being able to look at performance evaluation definitely helps a company be more productive. And it also just helps employee morale and employee engagement altogether. So organizational design can definitely be a huge factor in the success of an organization. Lastly, and one of the most important, is leadership development. I think that we saw a lot in this is that the more that we pour into our people, the more that we'll get out. So the more training that we put into employees and the more that we spent on programs, wellness programs, health programs, benefits, the better results that we saw from our employees. So leadership development should definitely be top of the list for many organizations, but I definitely saw how important that was to HR management as well. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching my video and listening. And thank you so much to Simulation for all that you've taught me and to this class for being my first HR management class. Like I said, it was such an enjoyable experience. Bye.